Many a times, something as simple as French fries also gets complicated. A lot of restaurants that I visit the world over do not get this recipe consistently correct. Let's today see a simple, easy way to get your French fries easy, consistent, time and again. Hey guys, this is the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar and welcome to Rajshri Food. For the French fries, I'm going to use large potatoes which are actually not a fresh harvest. Check with your vegetable vendor, I'm sure they know the best. This is nicely washed and scraped. I'm going to peel this and make sure you have a very sharp peeler so that you remove a very thin peel of this potato. Well, a lot of potato gets wasted if you do not peel it correctly. The final yield of the French fries actually goes for a toss. The reason I'm using old potatoes is because the moisture content in these potatoes is relatively lesser. And with this, the final product is nice, crisp and golden brown. This potato needs to be cut like so to form a nice base. I'm going to now cut these vertically into slices. I'm going to stack it up like this and cut this into long strips or batons. I'm going to collect these batons and reserve them in cold water. And similarly, let's start processing the rest of the potatoes. Once these are dipped in cold water, these need to be transferred on a clean kitchen towel. The potatoes need to be patted dry and make sure you do not break the batons. Once these are completely patted dry, we need to start frying a portion at a time, and this could be 15 to 20 pieces. These potato batons need to be fried exactly for 30 seconds in moderately hot oil and transferred on an absorbent kitchen paper. This method is technically known as oil blanching. Similarly, let's keep frying. Make sure at any point you do not overcrowd the oil. That's step 1 of making French fries. Let's now move on to the next step. For this, I'm going to transfer all these half-fried French fries on a tray and press this down with another kitchen towel to make sure all the oil is absorbed. To make these extra crisp, I'm going to use some potato starch. If you do not have this, please use cornstarch. Rub this well. This batch of potato needs to be frozen for a minimum of 30 minutes before we start frying it the second time. It's been 30 minutes and the fries are frozen. Let's now begin with the second batch of frying. The oil is moderately hot. These potatoes need to be fried for 45 seconds to a minute or till it's perfectly golden brown in color. As you can hear, the fries are nice and crisp. While the fries are still warm, I'm going to transfer them on a larger surface area. This is the time to start seasoning it. Firstly, with some salt. To make it nice Chatpata and my style, I'm adding in some roasted coriander powder, a little bit of chili powder, and finally some chaat masala. Topping this up with some freshly chopped parsley and crushed black pepper. Well, if I'm not imagining too far, I think in my opinion, most countries have their own peculiar spice mixes or spice blends. Well, Peri Peri or Peri Peri is one of those. Well, in Swahili, it means pepper pepper. On that note, today, let's make Peri Peri French fries. Let's combine the magic of French fries and Peri Peri. What's important in this recipe is actually the quality of chilies. What I'm using is a chili that gives you good color. For Indian parlance, I'm using Kashmiri mirch. Just snipping them like so that they kind of toast easily. Let's also increase some heat quotient and added chilies that give you heat. The chilies that I'm using now are Bedgi chilies. You need to toast them on medium to low flame. Ensure that the flame is not high because you do not want the chilies to change color or darken. While the chilies are getting toasted, let's start adding in some flavoring. The first one that goes in are coriander seeds. The next one, black peppercorns. And finally, some seeds of cumin. While this is getting toasted, let me quickly introduce you to a few ingredients which I've pre-processed and kept. The first one are leaves of basil, which I've kind of dehydrated. Now for dehydrating, if you have a dehydrator in-house, well, nothing like it. At your home kitchens, what you can alternately do is microwave this or dehydrate this in a microwave for 2 minutes. Give them 2 shots of a minute each. So here I have some leaves of basil and I have some parsley. What I also have here with me are some garlic cloves along with some red onions. Dehydrate this. This is going to take a little longer because the quotient of water or moisture is a little higher. Well, while talking to you, this is also done. Let's keep this aside so that this kind of cools down completely or comes down to room temperature. What I'm doing alternately here is I am also frying some thick home-cut fries. These are basically nothing but potato chips or potato French fries that I have cut into batons. Well, the potato chips had been steamed till they were 3/4 cooked, and now is the time when they're getting fried for one more time, or rather getting cooked for another time, and that's when you cook it till it's completely done. If you wish to make French fries at home, there's a detailed recipe that I had shared with you earlier. If you wish to watch it, there's a link in the description box below. The potato is fried and ready. Let's now move on to the spices which have relatively cooled down. Let's grind this into a fine powder. But before that, let's add in a few more spices. Well, yeah, as I'd introduced these earlier to you, let's add in dehydrated leaves of parsley. Very little because what you want here is the flavor and essence of the leaves and not the color. With this, let's add in some dehydrated leaves of basil, followed with some cloves of dehydrated garlic. Along with this, some red onions. Finally, let's add in oregano or oregano, depending on how you pronounce it in different countries. Just a tiny piece of bay leaf. For some citrus, I'm adding in zest of lemon. Well, you can also add in zest of oranges if you please. And finally to this, some salt. Let's grind this into a fine powder or a coarse one, depending on how you like it. Well, it's a little coarse and I think that's perfect the way I like. Well, if you want, you can of course grind it finer. And now comes the last and final step, and that is actually sprinkling this spice mix generously or mildly on, of course, French fries. And finally, without forgetting, a touch of salt. Remember the fact that there's salt already in the recipe. One final toss, and with this, your Peri Peri French fries are done and ready. Though salt and potato is quite a classic, but we all love twists in our life, isn't it? Fries are an absolute favorite. Well, today, let's give them a makeover, which is sweet and spicy. Well, sweet with honey and spicy with chili. And today, let's make honey chili potato, of course, with using McCain French fries. First things first, of course, we need McCain French fries. Let's pull it out of the freezer. Well, absolutely crisp and delicious. You can fry these or bake these. I am frying these. The best part about McCain French fries is that these go straight from the freezer into the kadhai. But remember, I'm giving a makeover to these fries. Well, take as many as you require and the remaining go back in the freezer. The next thing, of course, is to add in just a touch of salt. Well, this is only required because it's a recipe that I'm following. So to begin with salt, I'm adding in some chili powder. Well, you can add in some sweet paprika, you can add in some chili flakes, but in this case, some chili powder to kind of spike it a little. To this, I'm also adding in just a clove of garlic which has been minced very finely. And to make these fries extra crisp, I'm adding in some corn flour or cornstarch. Let's give this a quick toss and ensure that every fry or every potato stick is coated perfectly well with salt, garlic, chili and cornstarch. You can keep this aside for 2 to 3 minutes so that the water kind of coats the fries, and in the interim, let's heat kadhai which has oil to fry. It's been 3 minutes at room temperature and you'll realize that the French fries have kind of released a little bit of moisture, and because of that the corn flour has kind of coated onto it, and that'll help make it nice and crisp while frying. Well, these are wonderfully fried, golden brown, absolutely crisp and delicious, and just in 3 minutes. So next time, put an end to your hunger cravings in just 3 minutes. Next, let's move on to making the nice, gooey and sticky honey chili sauce. Let's move on. For the sauce, I'm of course going to take a few multiple ingredients and combine them in a bowl to begin with. The first thing is the goodness and sweetness of honey. I'm following this up with chili sauce. To make it nice and tangy, I'm adding in vinegar along with this cornstarch to of course thicken the sauce. And finally, you can take either vegetable stock or water. Mix this well till it's absolutely lump-free. And once that's done, we'll move on to making the sauce. The next step is to heat a wok on high flame. And to this, I'm adding in just a touch of oil. And with this, I'm going to add in some dried red chilies. But you can make it as spicy as you wish. Garlic. And with this, I'm adding in sesame seeds, which are untoasted, and at this stage, they'll kind of get toasted. Let's move this around in the pan. Once you see that the sesame kind of starts popping, I'm going to add in the slurry or the remaining of the sauce mix. Give it a quick stir, and at this stage, I'm also going to add in some salt as required. Remembering the fact that we had added salt already. A quick stir and boil this on high flame for 30 to 40 seconds or till the cornstarch gets cooked completely and the sauce becomes nice and sticky. The next is this wonderful sauce goes straight on the French fries. Well, McCain French fries are made without use of any preservatives, and that you need not worry about, especially the mothers. And this makes a wonderful snack for all age groups.
Everybody loves fries, but what's better than fries is loaded fries. So I've already cut my potatoes. If you want to learn how to cut your potatoes properly, check out the link in the description box below. I'm going to start making the batter for our fries now. This will ensure that our fries are really crispy. So I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon of corn flour, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, salt to taste, and water. We're going to make a very thin batter out of this. Our lump-free batter is now ready. Now the only reason why I have soaked my potatoes in water is so that it doesn't discolor. Let's drain the water out and add the potatoes into our batter. Toss your potatoes into the batter. Now I'm going to drop this into some hot oil, and the oil is on medium flame. So I'm just going to drop the potatoes one by one. Be very careful when you're doing this. Your potatoes will sink at first and then they will rise. So we'll let the potatoes fry for about 5 minutes. At this stage, your potatoes will be half cooked from inside. We'll take them out on a kitchen towel after that. So after frying the potatoes for 5 minutes, take them out. We'll set the fries aside and we'll fry them again so they become really crispy. Now let's move on to the topping. I'm going to start with a little bit of oil. About 1.5 tablespoons should do. 1 tablespoon of ginger, garlic and chilli paste. After cooking this paste for about 2 minutes, we'll add some chopped onions. So we're going to add salt right now, just enough to season the onions. Our onions have softened now. Let's add some red chilli flakes. I'm using half a teaspoon of mixed herbs. This has oregano, rosemary, thyme, etc. Just saute it for about 10 seconds and add in tomato puree. This is puree of 3 tomatoes. So our gravy is nice and thick now. The tomatoes have cooked out very nicely. We'll add some salt to season it. Mix it well. Turn off the flame and set it aside. So the trick to nice crispy french fries is to fry it 2 times, once after it has cooled down. So we'll fry it again now. When you fry it for the second time, you don't have to fry it for long. You can just switch off the flame within 2 minutes and remove the potatoes. So now quickly salt your potatoes while they're still hot. 1 pinch should be enough. And toss them around. Be careful, don't burn your fingers. So let's plate our loaded fries now. I'm going to add some fries till the glass is half full. I have some grated processed cheese here. Just sprinkle it on top. And spoon over the tomato mixture. This is still warm, so it will melt all the cheese. Now let's do one more layer. Sprinkle some more cheese and then the topping, and lastly some more cheese. This is such a fun way to share fries with your friends, so when you try this recipe out, do let me know in the comment section below about your experience. Like this video and subscribe to Rajshri Food for more such recipes. See you next time.